Good afternoon to all. Myself Dr. Umesh, Associate Professor in Goldfield College of Education, Faridabad. Today my topic of discussion is Theory of Learning by Insight. Earlier we had discussed two theories of learning, that is behavioristic theory and cognitive theory. In behavioristic theory we have already discussed about Thorndike's trial and error method, Pavlov's classical conditioning, and Skinner's operant conditioning. Now in cognitive theories, it is the Gestalt theory. What theory? Gestalt theory. The theory is called as the Gestalt theory of learning. The Gestalt, the word Gestalt in German language means whole, total pattern or configuration. This school believes that the whole is more important than the parts, so learning also takes place as a whole. In this respect, Kohler performed a number of experiments on monkeys and chimpanzees and arrived at the result that a highest type of learning is through insight. Not by behavior, by insight. Learning by insight means sudden grasping of the solution, a flash of understanding without any process of trial and error. All discoveries and inventions have taken place through insight. Of course, the discoverer possessed a complete knowledge of the whole situation in piecemeal. The Gestalt psychologist dismisses the theory of trial and error, hit and miss, strive and success. Another modern psychologist, E.C. Tolman, also rejects the trial and error theory and approaches the insight theory. Max Wertheimer is the father of Gestalt theory. Later, Wertheimer's theory was further refined and developed by Kurt Koepka and Wolfgang Kohler. The term Gestalt means a whole, a total composition. According to this theory, an individual learns an object, a single entity, not in parts or bits. In other words, an individual understanding of an object comprehends the whole object, not merely parts or bits of the object. The whole is greater than the sum of its part. Now the Kohler's experiment. Kohler in 1925 performed a set of experiments with chimpanzee, and the name of the chimpanzee was Sultan. The chimpanzee Sultan was kept in a cage. In the cage was a bunch of banana hanging from the roof. A box was kept inside the cage. The chimpanzee, that is the Sultan, tried to get the banana but was unable to due to his height. Finally, he used the box, climbed on it to reach the bananas and got it. In another experiment, the chimpanzee required 2 or 3 boxes to reach the banana. He succeeded in reaching the banana by placing a box on the top of the other. In another experiment, the banana bunch was kept outside the cage and 2 sticks were placed in the cage. After several trials, the chimpanzee joined the sticks to reach the banana. Now, characteristics of insight theory of learning. Insight is sudden grasping of the solution of the problem. It depends upon the intellectual ability of the learner. It is facilitated by previous experiences. It involves understanding and reasoning about the problem. Now there are some of the steps for insightful learning. According to Kohler, there are some steps for insightful learning. First, identifying the problem. Learner identify the problem in goal attainment. Second, understanding the problem. The learner analyze the situation and the nature of the problem. Next is initial effort. That is, effort from the simple trial and error mechanism. Next is incubation of ideas. A period of hesitation or pause from the problematic situation. During this period, mind keeps the task alive. Next is insight development. This is the most important step because a flash of the lightning comes in mind to solve the problematic situation. Next is repetition and generalization. After obtaining an insightful solution for the problem the individual applies, this knowledge thus obtained in another situation which requires similar type of solution. Thus, we can say that after that there is assimilation of the knowledge, assimilation of the experience and its reflection. Now there are some of the principles which are involved in the insightful learning. These principles are as law of figure ground. This is a type of the perceptual grouping which is vitally necessary for recognizing objects through vision. Everything is perceived in the context of its background. This law examines how the eye can separate shapes in a design from background of that design. This law is also called law of closure. Law of closure. Next is law of pregnance. An organism is motivated to learn when there is tension or disequilibrium of forces in the psychological field. Learning is the removal of this tension. When we perceive an object, we find some gaps in our perceptions. These gaps are filled by perceiver and a whole figure is prepared. Next is law of continuity. Objects having continuity are learnt easily because they can easily make a whole. Next is law of similarity. This law makes the individual to guess things which are similar. Similar ideas and experiences get associated. Next is law of proximity. This law states the proximate or near together things are picked up first and learnt easily than distant things. Now there are some of the criteria or essentials of learning by insight. These are the important. 1. Comprehension as a whole. Learning by insight requires full comprehension of the situation as a whole. Second is clear goal. The goal must be quite clear, what to do and what not to do and what to begin with. Third is power of generalization. The learner must possess power of generalization along with those of differentiation. Next is that suddenness of solution. Suddenness of a solution. That means the solution flashes suddenly to the learner. No lengthy reasoning is involved. Fifth is new forms of objects. As a result of insight into the problem or situation, object appears in new forms and pattern. Next is transfer. That is transfer of learning occurs as a result of insight. The principles learned in one situation are applied to the other situation. Next is change in behavior. Insight changes our behavior to the extent which we have learned through insight. Then these were some of the criteria or essentials of learning by insight. Now, educational implication of learning by insight. What should be the educational implication of this Gestalt theory of learning? First is that the role of teacher in insight learning. 1. integrated curriculum. The curriculum of the class should be an integrated whole. There should be correlation between various subjects. Second, problem as a whole. The whole problem is to be presented in the class. A piecemeal approach will not develop learning by insight. This theory believes the whole is not a sum of the parts. Therefore, the teacher should present the things in the class as a whole, at least to start with. Therefore, the whole sentence should be presented first and then analyzed into words and letters. While teaching the scientific subjects, the model of the whole content should be presented before the students. Third is child as a whole. Parent and teacher should see the child as a whole and in total setting. It is not wise to conclude on the basis of single act about the child's behavior. Importance of motivation. The theory stresses the importance of motivation in learning. Therefore, the teacher should motivate the students properly for insightful learning. Importance of transfer. The theory also emphasizes the importance of transfer of learning. Previous experiences are helpful in learning. Hence, the teacher should encourage the students to make the best use of transfer of learning. Emphasis on intelligent learning. As it opposed the behavioristic theory, it raised the behavioristic theory. This theory is economical in terms of the human energy. It puts emphasis on insight and understanding rather than the rote learning. Next is development of higher mental faculties. Insight involves the maximum use of intelligence. Therefore, learning by insight is helpful in developing and improving higher mental process like thinking, imagination, reasoning, analytical ability, problem solving, and creativity, etc. Eighth point is problem solving approach. Insight helps in solving problems through one's own efforts. This approach trains the child to solve his problem in life. Therefore, the teacher should make use of the problem solving approach for better learning. He should prepare children emotionally and intellectually to solve the problem. Ninth point, useful for difficult subjects. Because we are taking as a whole in the Gestalt, the theory is especially useful for learning difficult subjects like science, math, literature, etc. 10th point, useful for scientific inventions. The theory is very useful for scientific inventions and discoveries. Many scientists, engineers, doctors, they do the greatest use of their insight. That means intellectual capabilities. Next is 11th is individual difference. The teacher keep in mind the intelligence level, maturity and other type of individual differences. Intelligence play a major role in learning by insight. The more intelligent a child is, the more he will learn through insight. The less intelligent child takes more time and makes more effort to gain insight. Insight of the child should be carefully handled by teacher. He should know that its development is related to the physical maturation of the child. He should present the problem keeping in view of the maturation of the child. 12th is logical presentation. The teacher should present his lesson logically. That means he should proceed from simple to complex, concrete to abstract, empirical to rational, and psychological to logical. Next 13th point is persistent efforts. It needs a lot of patience on the part of teacher. Insight does not develop in the learner immediately. It needs persistent effort. 14th is goal-oriented approach. The teacher should develop in the learner the purpose for striving towards a goal on the basis of child's experience. Next is multiple approach. Ability of learner and his past experience play an important role in insight. Therefore, the teacher should adopt a multiple approach in learning as planning lesson, providing experience, bringing integration. Then, these were some of the educational implications of learning by insight. At last, but not the least, we shall go for the limitations of theory of learning by insight. The methods of learning by insight has some limitations. These limitations are as small children and dull children learn more through trial and error than through insight which they lack. Even for insight, trial and error in ruled out, insight is the final stage of trial and error. Some difficult problems may be solved by insight, but intricate and complex problem may be beyond normal understanding and insight. In spite of these limitations, learning by insight needs to be encouraged in the ordinary instructional program of the school. The teacher can adopt a heuristic method of teaching. In this way, he will develop the pupil's reasoning power and put him in the capacity of a discoverer of new pieces. In teaching of geometry, for instance, a problem may be presented and the pupil asked to think out and reason out the solution. The teacher may suggest some clues to help the pupil arrive at the right solution. The task of the teacher is not in spoon feeding and transmitting knowledge, but in helping the child to acquire knowledge himself. Thus, a teacher can play a great and good role in developing intellectual capacities of their learners. Thank you very much. If you like this my video, kindly like and subscribe my YouTube channel, The Educational and Spiritual Consciousness. Thank you very much.